Greetings nerdlings and welcome to AmalgamNation presents World of Lorecraft, Weaponcraft, Ashbringer edition. Ashbringer is a powerful sword known for its use against the undead. Upon being forged, the sword was named after its original wielder Alexandros Mograine, former High Lord of the Silver Hand, who was known as the Ashbringer during the wars against the undead. Alexandros' oldest son Reynold betrayed and murdered him using the sword, transforming it into corrupted Ashbringer. Alexandros was resurrected as a Death Knight and kept it in his possession until his younger son Darian was forced to kill him. Darian then used the sword to kill himself, attempting to free his father's soul, which became trapped in the sword and consequently became a Death Knight himself. The sword became purified after Darian betrayed the Lich King and he relinquished it to Tyrion Fordring. While the sword's story has been slowly revealed since World of Warcraft's inception, it has a more pronounced role in World of Warcraft Wrath of the Lich King. Forging of the Ashbringer, although some of this was gone over in the Alexandros Mograine vid the other day. During the assault on Blackrock Spire in the Second War, High Lord Mograine of the Silver Hand claimed a mysterious dark crystal from a dead orc warlock. The crystal was the living embodiment of Shadow and originated from Draenor. Upon touching it, Mograine's hand became tainted, his hand becoming like that of an undead's, which could not be healed. Mograine kept the crystal a secret until the first whispers of the Scourge reached Lordaeron. He revealed it to the other leaders of the Silver Hand, suggesting that they search for the crystal's polar opposite, a manifestation of the light itself, be used against the impending undead holocaust. Mograine's peers, appalled at the sight of the dark crystal, attempted to destroy it with a holy spell. Unexpectedly, the crystal absorbed the spell and became its antithesis, or its opposite, the very crystal of pure light that Mograine suggested moments before. It was decided that from this crystal a weapon would be forged that would smite the undead with such power that only a cloud of ash would remain in its wake, the Ashbringer. Mograine and Fairbanks travelled to Ironforge, where King Magni Bronzebeard forged the blade himself upon the great anvil, infusing it with rage and vengeance for his brother Myrddin Bronzebeard, whom was believed to have fallen before Frostmourne. King Magni is said to have claimed he had never before crafted such an extraordinary weapon, nor would he ever again. After the Silver Hand was dissolved following Artus's betrayal, the remaining leaders banded together to fight the undead of the now Plaguelands. Ashbringer became the most lethal weapon in their arsenal, so much so that it quickly garnered the attention of Kel'Thuzad. Balnazar, in the newly possessed body of Grand Crusader Saidan Dashrahan, sought to secretly manipulate the remnants of the Silver Hand for the purposes of the Burning Legion. After Mograine stated his intentions to attack the Undercity, Balnazar put plans into motion to eliminate the High Lord in order to protect his brother Varimatris, who in turn was manipulating Sylvanas Windrunner and her Forsaken. Balnazar made a pact with Kel'Thuzad to eliminate the High Lord. Bane of the Scourge would be destroyed and the Dreadlord's agendas would continue. He corrupted Mograine's son Reynold and made plans to set a trap for the High Lord. Reynold led his father and High Inquisitor Fairbanks to Stratholme, where the legions of the Scourge awaited them. Reynold fled and hid while Mograine and Fairbanks fended for themselves. Fairbanks eventually became trapped alive under a pile of corpses. Mograine alone continued to smite thousands of the undead with ease, but was eventually wearied and dropped his blade in fatigue. Reynold came out of hiding to exploit his father's vulnerable state. He took up Ashbringer and slew his father, which simultaneously corrupted the blade by using it for such a treacherous act. Meanwhile, Kel'Thuzad resurrected Mograine as one of his Death Knights of Naxxramas and reclaimed his corrupt blade. Reynold became commander of the Scarlet Monastery, and Balnazar gained complete authority over the Scarlet Crusade. Seeking to free his father, Darian Mograine led a mission into Naxxramas with a small party of Argent Dawn members. Upon finding him, Alexandros was unresponsive to his son's pleas and attempts to redeem him, forcing Darian to reluctantly kill him. Darian then came into possession of the corrupted Ashbringer. He immediately heard his father's voice through Ashbringer, which led him to a portal and back to the Plaguelands. The voice then led Darian to Reynold at the Scarlet Monastery, where he confronted his brother, who lashed out in an attempt to kill him. Before Reynold was able to deal the final blow, corrupted Ashbringer acted on its own, emitting an aura of green flames which took on the form of Alexandros, garbed in dreadnought armor. Reynold begged for forgiveness and was quickly decapitated by his father, who then said he was forgiven. The spirit of Alexandros then retreated back into the blade. At some point afterwards, Darian used corrupted Ashbringer kill himself in an attempt to free his father. He was resurrected as a Death Knight and became High Lord of the Knights of the Blade. In the World of Warcraft, it is stated that Alexandros is one of the founders of the Scarlet Crusade. The comic depicts the formation of the Scarlet Crusade occurring after Alexandros' death, in which case he would have never been a member. The Ashbringer in World of Warcraft Ashbringer has been subject to intense speculation since the release of World of Warcraft. Rumours have been fueled by data mined graphics and item statistics as well as NPCs alluding to its existence. At the launch of World of Warcraft, the only reference to Ashbringer by name was made by caretaker Alan. It was hinted at further with the introduction of Dire Maul, Alexia Iron Knife, Bardu Sharp Eye, caretaker Alan, Narain Suit Fancy, Commander Eligor Dawnbringer, Chendralar Zealots, and Nat Pagel's Guide to Extreme Angling, all references to Ashbringer. Information from these NPCs implies that Ashbringer was somehow lost, that Nat Pagel and Prince Tortheldrin know the location and are even willing to tell the player. However, they have never shared their knowledge. The mystery surrounding Ashbringer created great interest and discussion among players who searched for a hidden or unlockable quest that would reward Ashbringer. Rumours regarding an acquirable Ashbringer persisted until a European CM admitted that it is not in-game, quickly followed by Aeonix's confirmation. The corrupted Ashbringer. Players encountered the resurrected High Lord Mograine in the original Naxxramas as a Death Knight of the Four Horsemen. He wielded corrupted Ashbringer, which could be looted from the horseman's cache. It is not obtainable in the current Naxxramas, however. Upon wielding the blade, the player becomes friendly with the Scarlet Crusade, although it does not appear in the reputations window, and hated with the Argent Dawn. A scripted event can be triggered upon entering the cathedral in the Scarlet Monastery. Scarlet Commander Mograine welcomes the player as the Crusaders bow before him or her. Unexpectedly, High Lord Mograine's spirit appears in full dreadnought, revives Fairbanks, and smites and kills his son, Reynold the Scarlet Commander, for murdering him. Fairbanks proceeds to tell the story of Reynolds' betrayal and that the corrupted Ashbringer is beyond redeeming. Luckily, Mograine has another son who resides in Outland and has the ability to forge a new Ashbringer. Fairbanks does not give any quests. Events from World of Warcraft Burning Crusade did not reveal Mograine's other son in Outland, however, and Ashbringer's fate would prove to be different in the next expansion. The Ashbringer in Wrath of the Lich King. Players can find Darian Mograine within Akaros with corrupted Ashbringer and the title of High Lord of the Knights of the Ebonblade during the Scarlet Enclave instance for the Death Knight starting area. At the Lich King's command, Darian launched an attack on the Argent Dawn at Light's Hope Chapel. In the battle that ensued, corrupted Ashbringer began to turn on Darian. When the Death Knights were forced to surrender, Tyrion Fordring revealed that the Lich King knowingly sent Darian and his knights into a trap. Shortly thereafter, the Lich King himself appeared. Darian relinquished Ashbringer to Tyrion, which became purified in his grasp, forcing the Lich King to retreat. In Howling Fjord, Alliance players can complete a quest to retrieve a sacred artifact from Utgard Catacombs. Upon returning it to Valgard, a nearby cleric will unmask himself as Tyrion Fordring and equip the artifact, which is revealed to be Ashbringer. The dialogue explains that Tyrion was convinced by his advisors to travel to Valgard in disguise, while Ares the Oathbound was entrusted to transport the sword separately to Northrend. This was a security precaution to protect the leader of the crusade should the Lich King's forces go after the sword's keeper in an attempt to kill Tyrion. Fordring can later be seen wielding Ashbringer in Icecrown. During the final battle against the Lich King in Icecrown Citadel, while himself and brave heroes fight against the Master of the Scourge, Tyrion Fordring was frozen in a block of ice created by Artis Menethil. Asking the light for one final blessing, which was answered, Tyrion leapt towards Artis, and with one mighty swing of the Ashbringer shattered the dread Frostmourne, releasing the souls trapped within. Speculation and rumours about the Ashbringer. The crystal from which the original Ashbringer was created is likely related to the Naru and may in fact be a Naru. The Naru life cycle is one of reincarnation. When a Naru's physical form is damaged, it becomes dark. Naru will persist in this state until they slowly regenerate their powers from the light over many years, after which they will be reborn into their light form again. The Ashbringer crystal demonstrated a similar duality. A holy spell was cast on the dark crystal and became a crystal of light. Furthermore, the crystal was described as a living embodiment, suggesting that it is alive, or at least sentient, possibly a darkened Naru. If the crystal is not a darkened Naru, then it is almost certainly closely associated with them, perhaps one of the Atamal crystals. Mograine also stated that the crystal is from Draenor. The Naru had not yet arrived on Draenor via Tempest Keep before the Second War, implying that only the Naru aboard Oshu Gun could possibly be the source. Kure, Dore, and other unnamed Naru are simply an artifact on board. Dore himself tells the player, "Without the void, the light cannot exist," which are suspiciously similar words used by Mograine, who says, "Can good exist without evil? Can there be light without dark?" After Kil'jaeden's defeat at Sunwell Plateau, Velen and Lady Liadrin arrive at the Sunwell. Velen uses the remaining spark of Uru to reignite the Sunwell. Liadrin One's experience upon being filled with Sunwell's energies is not unlike that of Mograines when touching the Ashbringer crystal. Lady Liadrin says, "Blessed ancestors, I feel it. So much love, so much grace. There are no words possible to describe." Commander Mograine said, It is beautiful. What I felt when I touched it. The light coursed through me, and I through it. It healed my spirit." Their similar experiences, along with the new knowledge that a Naru's essence can be consolidated, suggests that the spark of another Naru may have been the crystal from which Ashbringer was forged. It should be noted that Mur's spark appears identical, although larger, to the dark Ashbringer crystal, although this may be coincidental. In the comic it is both shown as and referred to as a sphere. An old quest line to do with the Ashbringer. Ashbringer may have been originally intended to be in the game much earlier. Parts of what seems to be a scrapped quest line can be pieced together. Nat Pagel learned of the location of Ashbringer and wrote about his book, Nat Pagel's Guide to Extreme Angling, of which players only have the last page. Chandrilar zealots in Dire Maul say that Prince Torteldrin knows the location of Ashbringer and is willing to tell the player if one were to bring him the head of Nefarian. Also in Dire Maul is the full, albeit unreadable copy of Nat's book, a thoroughly read copy of Nat Pagel's Extreme Angling, which can be found in dusty tomes. The prince, being a historian and a bibliophile, likely read Pagel's book, learned of the Ashbringer's location, discarded the book in Dire Maul, where the player finds it. The zealot's words suggest that Ashbringer was likely to be a legendary item associated with Blackwing Lair, but was changed to Thunder Fury Blessed Blade of the Windseeker, which requires Elementium Ingot from Blackwing Lair. This is supported by the fact that Ashbringer's original item ID was changed to host Thunder Fury. Additionally, at one time Timalane's phylactery could be looted from large vile slimes in the Weeping Cavern of Western Plaguelands. Lengthy discussion on the official forums has led to the premature yet popular conclusion that Timalane is the name of the mage referred to by Bardu Sharpeye and Alexia Ironknife, and therefore is the crafter of Ashbringer in original questline. Blood Mage Thalnos was also speculated to be the crafter of Ashbringer at one point, as the Scarlet Crusade has no affinity for the arcane. The implementation of Ashbringer was likely delayed so that the story could be fleshed out with the addition of Naxxramas. As of Wrath of the Lich King, it is still not available to players, and as Tyrion Fordring now wields it himself, it seems unlikely that it ever will be. Just to put in a personal thing, it is available to players now, but only to paladins, which sucks, because I want one for my hunter. During World of Warcraft The Burning Crusade, the original references to a son of Alexandros Mograine in Outland sparked rumours that the hermitsmith David Wayne was somehow related to the Ashbringer storyline. David Wayne is a level 70 quest giver located on a small tip of land just east of Firewing Point in the contested territory of Terakar Forest. He is a former member of the Sons of Lothar and can be found at Wayne's Refuge in Terakar Forest. He left the Alliance expedition to become part of something larger. His appearance resembles the younger Alexandros Mograine, and his smithing skills are somewhat unique based on the quest items the player gathers for him. Nothing ever progressed as far as Ashbringer is concerned during the Burning Crusade's lifetime, and World of Warcraft Wrath of the Lich King events makes his involvement in Ashbringer highly unlikely. The crossguard on the Ashbringer is in the shape of the Lordaeron symbol. Thank you for watching, and as always remember, play to game and game to play.